one more guest. Joe's still a guest right now, but we're working on changing that here hopefully for too long. Welcome, Joe. Don't see any other guests. So how about Happy Buttons?
That's it. Got about 17 happy buttons over here. Sorry that he decided to scream at everybody. That's a new thing for some reason. So if he gets too loud, just yell at us.
That's what he's learned at home. That's what he learns at home. Scream at each other.
Yeah, he's really excited to see everybody. We've been gone. We had a couple doctor's appointments on some Wednesdays, and then we were at Disney and another doctor's appointment. So we're happy about all that fun stuff. But back in like January, Emily came up to me. She said, "You guys should consider getting signed up for kinder music," which I said is what they do with the girls and everything. I'm like, okay, yeah. So we did, and we've been going to that for a couple weeks. But I'm very disappointed because Josh is not there with us. To get to see him on songs and everything. Like we walk in and I'm like, Josh is here. He won't find that.
Josh refuses kinder music. I go to dance on occasion, but kinder music I can't do.
We're happy to be back.
All right. Anybody else? Rob?
I'll put in. So, last weekend we had an invitation to go camping with a couple other Boy Scout troops. And so we did, and we went down to Brown County. And one of the fun activities they wanted to do was a 10-mile hike out through all the hills and hollers and this sort of thing. And so, sure, why not? Let's go do that. And 6 hours later, 6 hours later, we pulled back in the camp, and I was dead from the waist down. But I made it, and not all the adults can say that. We had to call and get a car for a couple to haul them back. But this guy, I made all 10 miles.
Anybody else?
I do.
Right.
It's cheese ball season. So I'm gonna pass around order form. I'll be taking orders over the next couple of weeks. So I typically deliver. We're making them November 12th. So I typically bring them to the Wednesday following, which I think is the 15th. You can message me too or whatever. So we appreciate it. It's fun for us, and it makes funds that we give back to the community, just like Rotary.
Alright. Hey, anybody else? I put a 5 back there, just been going to the Northeast soccer games for the boys this year with Jordan playing and everything, and they had open sectionals last night, and they actually won. They beat Indian Creek, and I'm not sure, it's been quite a while since they won, which they did move down a class just because before they was facing Bloomington North and South and all them all the time, and they finally moved them down, so a little more competitive. So I'll play again tonight against Edgewood, and we beat them 4-1 last time, so hopefully they can win that and play them championship Saturday. But just happy for them, and happy Jordan's playing really well. Last night they won 4-2, and he scored 2 goals and assisted on 1. So I'm glad he's really ending his career really, really well and stuff. So be sorry to see that end, but hopefully it goes to at least Saturday. It'll be a tough task to win Saturday, but they should win tonight. The announcements, awards night is tomorrow, White Pine Manor. I will send out an email with the address, but it is just south on 59, just past, a little bit past the Hendricks on First Financial Bank. If you get to, it's right next to the Stanmar Estates, I think is the, yeah, Stanmar Estates. If you get to there and then you're heading south, then you've gone just a little too far. But it'll be in the white building there at the back, go down the gravel lot there. And that is, remember, if you sold your $300, it's free. If not, it's $20 for Rotarians, and your guest is free. And if you're gonna write a check rather than bring cash, go ahead and write that out to Rotary. So then we'll just write one check for the food and to White Pine Manor. There's a board meeting next week. It'll be at noon, and this time we're gonna go to Bits and Bites there in town, right there on 40. Go for there for a board meeting at noon next Tuesday. So anybody's welcome to come there. Have a sheet to remind, we RSVP later, but the service club luncheon, just to kind of put that out there for Rose-Hulman, that is Tuesday, November 22nd is when that will be. So keep that in mind if you'd like to go to that. And let's see, the upcoming speakers will be Mark Adamson next week, and the following week is Andrew, and the 26th is Mary Jo. Then anniversaries, there's no birthdays or wedding anniversaries that was on DACTV for the club, but there are a couple club anniversaries that's going to be coming up this next week. On the 9th will be Rick Hayes' 3rd year in the club, and then on the 11th will be Stephanie's 5th year in the club. Glad to have both of them. And now I believe Mike and Rob need a couple minutes to make an announcement. Or just Mike?
October 14th.
I promise we won't preach. Right? Or will I?
Well, I think I look better on the right. Can I be on the right side?
Amen. Today's sermon.
No, I like it left.
All right, Rob and I, for the past several years, participated in a program sponsored by United Way called Real Men Read. And we get to read a book once a month to a kindergarten class at one of the schools in the area, in our case here in Clay County. But one of our Paul Harris fellows, Mary Yelton, called me a couple of nights ago and said, Mike, we need 3 more volunteers for the Real Men Read program for Forest Park and I can't remember the other 2 schools. And would you announce that at Rotary? Because Rotary's always been so great at volunteering for things like this. Doesn't apply to you females out there, I'm sorry. What can I say? But if you're interested in becoming a real man reader, it's a lot of fun.
Or how about just a real man?
Yeah.
A real man. If you're a real man,
Yeah.
and you can read.
Well, that is a prerequisite.
It is.
There are big words in these books for kindergartners. Seriously, they got me one time when half the words were in Spanish.
Correct.
We figured it out.
That was rough.
So, but just see, probably Rob or me, I've got to leave this afternoon. We'll get back to Mary, and she'll get in touch with you then and fill you in on all the details. But I can tell you it's a lot of fun, and you'll get a lot out of it, and so will the kids. Thanks.
Thank you. All
And
right.
Mike, I'll add that I signed up to be one of those real men readers yesterday.
And were you accepted?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Have to do the background check.
Sure.
All right, so this week's program is Dr. Alicia Reed Thomas. So Alicia, come on up and introduce your speaker.
I'm Alicia Reed Thomas, and I have I'm an optometrist here in town. I've been in Rotary about 28 years now, I think. I started the same year I opened my practice in town, and at the time I joined, actually our speaker was a member of the club, if I remember right, and she was probably one of the only 1 or 2 women in the club at that time. So I've known Toni for a long time. I'd like to also thank Michelle Canava for arranging her to come today. So I'd like to go ahead and introduce Toni Carter, and she's going to give us an update on the Clay County Humane Society.
I actually remember Alicia and Marianne and I doing the fish fry many years ago for Rotary, so that was caused a lot of anxiety. So anyway, I just I know I was here not too long ago talking about what was going on with the Humane Society and kind of give you an update. So I'll just briefly go over that again and then get to the main point of why I want to be here today. First off, I was talking to Michelle, and just to let you know kind of who the board members are. We're also looking for a couple, we'll need a couple more board members after the first of the year too. So if anybody has any interest, But right now, besides myself, Amy Dierdor, Rhonda Boring, Jody Wyndham, Michelle Canava just recently came on, and then Jerry Lau, he just recently came on, so we're excited about him being on there with us, and we need a couple more kind of dynamic people going forward, so if anybody has an interest or knows somebody that really loves animals and has time to put into it, we're trying to get board members that really can participate, and so unfortunately a lot of us are retired, but just about our budget a little bit, we have a $200,000 budget, and the only money we really have coming in for sure is the city and county contract, and that represents about 25%. So 75% of our budget comes from donations and fundraisers, and people are so good. You just, until you've been over there and just have experienced the people just day after day that come in and just are giving cash, giving their time, donating dog food, bringing in, I mean, just blankets, and just, it's a revolving door, and if you've never spent time over there, you have no idea how busy it really gets. Right now we've got 36 dogs and 62 cats. So we've got a total of 98 right now in the facility. We probably are good with around, I think 80 is probably our capacity, so we are over capacity, but we always find a nook and cranny for anybody. We've got 50 in foster to adopt and foster, and what that means is, like, if we've got baby kittens, they're too young to be adopted and they need their mom, they'll be in foster until they're old enough to come in, or maybe puppies that aren't quite old enough to come in. Also, no animal leaves our facility that isn't altered, that has been spay or neutered. So what we'll do is, we have a veterinarian that comes in 1 day a week. He comes in from Sullivan. And so he's only got, with only 1 day a week, we only have so many animals we can do in a day. So we do a foster to adopt program. That way they can go ahead and take their pet home, and then we'll make arrangements for when their week comes up, they just bring it back. We get it altered, and then we make the adoption final. So we got 50 in foster to adopt right now. So we're really responsible right now for about 148 animals. Couple programs, one I'll briefly go over, and the other one I'm going to talk about the reason why I'm here today. We just started a TNR program about 1.5 years ago. That stands for trap, neuter, and release. I'm sure we've all seen these feral cats, stray cats running around, and we're really trying to put a dent in that population. The county isn't such a bad spot for them. Unfortunately, the coyotes kind of take care of the cat problem in the county. But in the city, especially like in the incorporated towns of the Carbon, Harmony, Staunton, in the city of Brazil, you see a lot of feral cat communities where maybe they've gone into an abandoned house and that's kind of where they live. So with this TNR program, a gentleman had left us some money in an estate. We took $10,000 of that money and started this program, buying traps. So if anybody has feral cats, you know, we want to stop the madness of them reproducing. So we've got traps that we loan out, and then we'll give you a date to bring those cats in to get them altered. And then what they do is you pick them up that evening and take them and just release them where you caught them. At least, and they'll all have a clipped ear. So when you see a cat running around with a little clipped ear, you'll know that at least it's already altered, and it's, you know, not kind of stopping what's going on with the.
And had a rabies vaccination.
Yes, we did also give them rabies vaccinations too. So, but under our TNR program, just year to date, and this is the community, because we don't have time to go out and trap these cats. So the community is really, we've done 88 cats year to date. We've also, year to date, brought in, just by picking them up, strays or kittens or whatever, because kitten season, you know, comes up. We brought in over 300 cats and kittens this year, and all of them have been spay and neuter, because nothing leaves our facility without being altered. And then we've also got public vet coming in. I think they're based out of California, but they come around to different communities. The fairgrounds has been very gracious in letting us use the fairgrounds, and we really don't have anything to do with it. We're just kind of promoting it so people have an alternative. Since Spot closed down in Terre Haute, it was a low-cost spay and neuter, and it's a regular veterinarian's going to probably be $120 to $150 to get a cat spay or neutered. So people are kind of looking for a lower cost alternative. Public Vet has been here twice, and they're coming again November 7th. They only do cats, but they just come in and they start at 10:30 and they're usually done by 4. But the first time they came, the community brought in 92 cats that were spayed and neutered. The second time they came in, it was 77 cats, so 169 cats through them. So with the TNR program, just the cats we spay and neuter on our own, and Public Vet, we've spay and neutered 557 cats. So considering they can have 2-3 litters a year, and then those litters have litters, and it just accumulates, we're trying to put a dent in that population eventually. So the main reason, the other program we're getting ready to really kick off, we've sent some letters out. We want to make sure everybody's aware of this. I've got a couple, is our building program. Right now we've got 22 indoor kennels and everything else is outside. So because of that, we battle, the weather, be it, 90 degrees or it be, 10 degrees and the wind's blowing and it's snowing, it's sleet. We've got straw in there, we've got cords going everywhere, trying to keep them warm. We've got heat lamps, breaking water. I mean, it's just, the ice and snow, and it's just not a great condition. So what we'd like to do is build a building behind where the shelter is now, just for dogs. It wouldn't replace the current shelter. It would just be 40 indoor, outdoor kennels. They would be 5 by 5 on the inside, 5 by 10 on the outside, with a guillotine door in the middle, so that we could raise that up. We can have fresh air coming in. They would have heated floors, the radiated heat on the floors. That helps with just spread of disease and helps with energy costs as well. But I've got a couple, I think about 5 of these. I'll kind of start in different directions. Do you want to do that? Pass that around. It's just kind of a plan to kind of show you what's happening. You can pass this around. And then also, Michelle, these are passing you down. This is what we're basically doing. We're just putting out a kind of a plea for help. I know on the Facebook page we have about 13,000 followers, and somebody put on there that we needed straw, and somebody said, well, I wish these dogs didn't have to be outside. And we do too. But unfortunately, as a nonprofit, and with 75% of our money coming from fundraising and donations, we don't have the luxury. We have had several people leave us money in their wills, which has been amazing, and we really appreciate that. But I've sent out fundraising letters, and so far, and we've got an escape coming in. I'm hoping the board will want to move that money into the building fund. But even with that, we've got about 33% of our goal, which is $350,000, to get the extra money we need to build this building. So. Don and Deb Reisner that live behind the shelter were kind enough to help us get the property behind. We've got the land already taken care of. We've spent the money to get it ready to go. It's rated 4-footer. So right now we're just kind of waiting on the money. We're hoping that with building materials, by spring that they will come down. But once we get the money, we'll be really ready to go. So just wanted to talk to you about this program and the reasons why we would like to get it off the ground. So, anybody have any questions? If you see the when you see what's being passed around, you'll see it's kind of a U shape, and so it would kind of be like this whenever you drive back behind the shelter. So. They're on both sides. It's really kind of no nonsense. It's just a brick block building, so no maintenance at all. I mean, very little maintenance over the years. And then it's got a bathroom and then a washing area because of all the blankets and everything that we do every day. A lot of people don't realize, we're kind of like a hospital. It operates 7 days a week, holidays. I mean, those people that work there go in on Christmas. Every single holiday, they have to go in because these animals need fed and taken care of. So, and it'd be nice to have an indoor facility where they themselves aren't like bundled up, breaking water every single day, trying to keep the animals warm. And, you know, we try to bring a lot of them in, but we only have so much space. I would encourage you all to come over and do, you know, a walkthrough if you'd like. We're constantly looking for volunteers. There's always something to do, be it, you know, dishes, because all their dishes that they eat from have to be washed every day. Dishes, laundry. We've got a couple ladies that come in on Wednesdays after Silver Sneakers. They come in and do our laundry for us and dishes, and then we have another couple ladies that come in on Tuesday. So it'd be great to be able to, you know, get some help while they're feeding and walking the dogs. Someone in there that's gonna do the laundry. There's always something that needs organized. Dogs need walked. Michelle can, I mean, just, there's always something. Newspapers, people drop off newspapers and we love that, but we try to get them all folded, and sometimes the newspaper room is just, you can't even get in it, just needs organized. We've got a shed just outside the front of the building for cans. People are great bringing their aluminum cans. Every time we take them over to Terre Haute, it's usually $150 to $200. So, you know, every little bit helps. We just kind of need all the help we get. We really appreciate the community, everybody. They really go above and beyond. If you could just go over there and sit for one day and see the support that everybody has, it's really incredible. So, that's all I had. Jim?
I'm starting to get clients that are worried about what's going to happen to their pets after they pass on. And they take care of their pets, they take them to bed, they get them fixed and everything. But I've also got, you know, the lady with 40 cats.
Right.
And what's going to happen with that is a big concern of theirs.
Right.
And is there any service that you have that would offer them? And they don't want to see them killed, of
Right.
course.
We actually have a lot of dogs and cats come in from elderly people that pass away. Usually a family member will take it on, but not always. Little dogs are extremely easy to get rid of. People love little dogs, so we rarely have, you know, anything under 20 pounds because of that. But they do bring them in. We had a gentleman a while back that had, I think, 16 cats. We took 4 of his, and he found homes for the rest of them before he moved. But you know, we'll do our best to help them. There are some other rescues. A lot of times people will call, we'll refer them to other rescues. And then we also take cats to rescues about once a month, just to kind of, because it's, you know, we just don't, we have so many and we only get, you know, so many adoptions a month, but we will do our best to help them out that way.
Are the cats altered? 40
Yeah.
cats?
They
They
are.
are?
If they're altered, they're
Okay.
easier to play, you know, that's, you know, saving us money because it costs us every time. And, you know, for what we, especially when we do the half off adoptions, which a cat half off is like $30, $35. Yeah, a kitten's like $42.50. I mean, it costs us $40 per animal to get them altered in our facility with the vet coming in. So, you know, we're not making a lot of money. So, but when they come in and already altered and have their shots and everything, that's makes it a lot easier for us and better to place.
Clarify for everybody on the TNR program, tell me if I'm correct. If you were to identify like a colony of cats, you know, that were just breeding and therefore they breed disease and it's a terrible life for the animals, and you were to help assist with trapping and getting these cats brought in to get them altered, there's not a charge to the public.
Right.
So like, you know, if your neighbor had, you know, a cat
Right.
horde and you could encourage them to at least get these cats altered and get their ears clipped and get, you know, their rabies vaccination.
Right.
It's just physical effort on your part. There's no charge for that.
Right.
Which is different than like the fairground thing, which
Right.
is if you wanna have your personal cat or your farm cats altered, it's done at a reduced cost.
Right.
This is free to the public, this TNR program.
Right, our TNR, and we have a lot of people that will come in and they'll bring several cats and they'll donate some money, so we just put that right back into that TNR program. So, yeah, those 88 that we've done, that didn't cost them anything, but we don't have the ability to go out and trap all these cats. So usually there's someone that's feeding them or keeping an eye on them, and if they can get some help trapping them and bringing them in. I know Sarge from Knightsville, I mean, God love him, he comes in with 1 or 2 cats every once in a while, and, you know, he doesn't get around really well, but, he's always bringing them in to get altered. We're just trying to stop the madness, because it's incredible what one cat can equal in just a short period of time, with all the kittens. And when kitten season hits, it's something. It was kind of interesting, before kitten season hit this past year, we didn't have any cats. I think we had 5 cats in the whole facility. I was actually looking on Facebook, seeing if anybody had kittens they were trying to get rid of, and I was gonna call them and try to, you know, see if we could just take them in, because we didn't have any kittens to actually adopt out. And then before you know it, boom, kitten season hits, and, you know, we've got 68 right now, and another probably 30 in foster that are waiting to come in. So, we're always glad when kitten season goes away.
So when is kitten?
You know, it's in the spring, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
but
in the spring.
it goes all the way through summer, cause
Yeah.
they'll have 2 or 3 litters.
Yeah, and
literally.
usually we're slowing down by now, but we've still got a big supply, a huge supply. So it's yeah, and it hits hard. And people are calling. I mean, I've been down in the basement. People have kittens that are trapped in their basement, or, you know, it's just, there's always something going on. We should write a book about all the calls and everything we get and what goes on, so. I thought we'd call it Helter Shelter. Helter Skelter. I've already thought of the name, so. But yeah, if you, the flyers that we passed out, if you can put one up in your business, or you know where one can be, please take, you know, any additional. I got some more up here as well. Just trying to get the word out, get ready to post it on Facebook, so we can kind of get the word out that, you know, as soon as we can get, you know, the money in, then we're kind of ready to go. So, just hoping that's something that can materialize in the next couple years at least, hopefully spring, but I'm hoping for 2023, but it just depends.
Probably also worth mentioning for other services that are offered through the Humane Society, there's the spring and the fall annual low-cost shot clinics at the Cow Palace at Forest Park. We just finished last weekend, the fall one, had to get that right, but to put that into perspective, if you were to take a dog, say, into a vet and just get their annual checkup and all caught up on all their boosters and their rabies, you're probably looking at $300. You can have an animal done for $45. So it is a really huge service, and when you get there on the day of a shot clinic, because it just runs for 2 hours, it always runs over, but there are 2 licensed vets there, and there's a system where everybody's fed through in a line, cats and dogs, and it's a controlled chaos.
And this past
Yeah.
Saturday, I think there were 168 animals that were, dogs and cats that were,
And the great thing is, and I say this not from a point of snobbery, but a lot of the people who take advantage of this program, you know, I was there checking them in, I'm like, you know, these are animals that wouldn't be current on their rabies and wouldn't have their annual boosters and wouldn't be getting this health care otherwise, because it truly can get outrageously expensive to go into a vet, but people can be great pet owners, you know, it doesn't mean that but it doesn't mean they've got $300 to spend on getting an animal immunized.
and we get a lot of people coming in wanting, you know, wanting help, and obviously we don't wanna, we'd like to keep that animal in the home versus bringing it to the shelter, so, you know, we don't wanna enable them, but we will help them out on a short-term basis, you know, hoping it's a short-term basis, and like maybe they've lost their job or they just moved here or whatever, so, we will help them with food for a short period of time. Brenda, did you have a question?
Yeah, and maybe clarify this in there, that, just looking at the flyer, it was a 5x5 indoor space, 5x10 outdoor, is that feet, or what is that?
Yeah, a 5 foot by, the inside kennel will be 5 foot by 5 foot square.
Oh, all the dogs, so it's not just that total, it's.
And then the outside, yeah, so it'd basically be, yeah, a 5 by 10, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right now, the inside dogs are in like these little 4x4s, so, and they can't see anybody, it's kinda like being in a, like, almost like an asylum, I mean, they can't see anything except for the dog across from them, and it's just, sometimes they kinda go stir crazy in those, you know, we need people to come in and walk dogs just to get them outside, a little bit more, get some fresh air, so. But I invite you all to come down, to go through the facility, to volunteer if you want to. Like I said, there's always something to do, and we appreciate everything that everybody has done.
How many spaces inside this new facility?
40.
40.
Yeah, and 2 of them are larger for like, because sometimes we'll get some Great Danes in, and we don't have any place to put them, so we'll just have to clear out a room and put them in there. So 2 large ones. The little X's you see on top of that, that's for enclosures, because believe it or not, dogs can climb fences. Like, they're like cats. I literally saw them climb up, so they can climb up and escape. We actually had one escape, and it was hanging around the park, and we heard that, and we saw pictures of it, and so we'd go out and try to get it, and finally it finally came back. But it found its own home, that dog did. I think Ivy had done an article about it in the paper. It found a home that it wanted to go to and hung out with their dog, and it stayed there. So they just finally, we took care of the alterations, and they adopted it. So, and it never jumped the fence again. So it was looking for its own home. So.
I think a nice overall blanket statement about Clay County Humane Society is people involved in animal welfare have been griping and crying for years about we need the public to be more reactive. We need the public to care more. We need people to care about these stray dogs and stray cats that are running around. Well, overall, culturally, that's happening. And it's happening like at a very accelerated pace. So everybody's getting what they asked for, but that's a double-edged sword because with the involvement of animal welfare attitudes, things like no-kill shelters. You know, I mean, really, honestly, there are still high-kill shelters, but everybody's moving towards the no-kill, and the Clay County Humane Society has been there for many, many years already, and more humane housing facilities. So like if you, and I know nobody in this room ever has, but I've been there in the winter when it's, you know, we're in a snowstorm, and if everything else is shut down and we've got a snow emergency and it's illegal to be on the roads, the staff has to get up there if they have to put on snow boots and hike up there. They have to, under a boil water order where they can't even water the animals with the city water, they've got to be running around and getting other water sources for the day, which is a complete nightmare and dominates the day. And being out there in those frigid temperatures and in that extreme heat, it's nauseating in the summer for the workers, and it is dangerous. It's downright painful. I've been out there where it just hurts to be outside, but you've got to get through that. So when you think about like how much staff time it's going to clear up, having the animals in-house, plus the public wants more humane treatment of these animals. So that's why it's so critical to get this additional indoor space built.
Also, just on a side note, if you have pets that, you know, we get a lot of stray animals, and after 3 days they become our property, then we can get them spay neutered and adopt them out. But, you know, we put them on Facebook, we put them on Lost and Found Pets and everywhere. And so we would love to, I mean, we're trying to work with the city and county on, I think the city actually might have an ordinance already, it's just not enforced, that your animal has to have like a tag on it, or the inside of the collar with your name and number on it. But we also do microchipping. Yeah, we ran a couple half-price specials, but even full price is $20, and then your pet is microchipped. And we get a lot of animals in that we run the scanner, and we can find out who their owner is pretty quickly. So hopefully that'll be a big deal coming up, and we can get everybody to do that, so we can at least return all these stray dogs that we have to take in back to their owner, or at least find out who their owner is. So.
Anything else?
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Toni. Thank you for that update. Remember, tomorrow, the Words Night will start at 6 o'clock at White Pine Manor, and we'll send out that address in case you don't know. And if there's not anything else for the Good Club, Chad?
Northview High School football game next week.
Oh, that's right. We are selling the tickets again at the football game on October 14th. So we need, 5 volunteers?
I think we need 2 more.
2 more? Okay, we need 2 more volunteers for that if you're available to help sell the tickets before. And then once the game starts, I mean, our duties are over, so you can go to the game or go back home. But we can get 2 more volunteers. 5:15? Be there at 5:15, okay? So if we get help with that. All right, nothing else? We'll rise and recite our 4-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Well done.